Hello and welcome to Chattergate Podcast, where we break down and review a movie of my choosing, and just try to have some fun along the way. I'm your host, Drinking Thomas Shears.
Hi, I'm Hayden, and we're gonna have fun because guess what? It's just us. No
Just
more
the
the
two
weirdos.
of us. You can
Watching
make your
Megan
live
Fox.
each other.
Watching Meg-
Yes, we are watching Megan Fox because today we're discussing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, released in 2014, exactly 24 years after the first movie was released. Yeah, the ones when there's people in suits. That nightmare fuel. And again, these are quite nightmare fuel-ish if you're young and you see these giant ass fucking turtles and go, oh, okay. The movie was produced by Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes Company, which it technically makes it part of the Michael Bay verse, as I stated last week. The movie itself, though, was directed by Jonathan Liebesman, a South African director whose first movie was the horror Darkness Falls, before helming some more, big budget and bigger name movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, the prequel to the film we did last year. Obviously, that remake, which of course is another Michael Bay movie, so it makes sense why. I think she just died.
Literally, as I was about to speak, my entire thing froze. I was like, "Oh, okay. Best time for this. Thanks, Discord." Skype was way much better.
Oh, for
Honestly,
fuck's sake.
we had this fucking shit with Skype.
Don't worry, all you miss was me just giving some information, so it's fine.
Okay. I totally get paid by Michael Bay to say Skype is better, but Skype is better.
Anyway, as I was saying, Michael Bay produced the Texas Chainsaw movie, which obviously this guy did the prequel. And another big remake he handled was Wrath of the Titans, the sequel to another old school movie, which got remade with big budget. So he's helmed some big movies thanks to the IPs. Essentially, he's done a few other things. Like apparently he's going to be doing a few episodes of the Halo TV series.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in terms of the names in front of a film, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Wrath of the Titans probably the biggest you can find.
Basically, if it's got explosions, slow motion, and Megan Fox, it's fucking Michael Bay.
This is produced though. It's not actually full on Michael Bay in the.
Oh, you know he did. You know he did at some point. He's probably there in the background going like, "Yeah, okay, that there, mate. What? Who you've got for April? No. Put Megan Fox on there. What? Wife makes no sense because she's supposed to be in the same universe as Transformers. No, don't care about that. Megan Fox. And yes, we're going to have it so that she looks perfect no matter what happens. Even if it's supposed to be raining, she'll come back completely dry. Because Megan Fox and Michael Bay wants what Michael Bay gets.
Megan Fox.
Yes, Megan Fox and explosions. And don't forget that slow motion and stealing shots from Transformers and other films. Okay, that's what we need to do. Because it's Michael Bay. He can do what he wants.
How many times are you going to say Michael Bay during this podcast?
Michael Bay.
I should have really been tallying this up, but I didn't bother. So I'm already going to forget this joke. Okay, let's get straight into this. So I think this is a very underrated movie because it got fucking really bad reviews at launch and obviously over the time. But I actually really enjoyed it. I think it's a really fun movie, and it's obviously of course since it's Michael Bay produced. It obviously very much reminds me of the Transformers remakes, the early on ones when they were good. So it obviously has that same sort of feel because it has obviously the dark, the action, the comedy, Megan Fox, slow-mo, explosions, the usual Michael Bay stuff. So it very much feels like the early Transformers films before they got completely ruined by Michael Bay.
The irony.
Yeah. He built it up and he knocked them down. But yeah.
Because he got called a Nazi.
Yeah, that was the second film. And that's why Megan Fox got fired. And that's why she got hired for this. As a sorry.
Just say sorry, yeah.
Basically. But yeah, I think it just gets a bit too much stick. I actually really like it because it's quite a dark take on something. You know me, I like my good dark takes and things. Look at the Power Rangers movie. I liked it because it was a dark take on a very childish thing. And for someone, again, just like Power Rangers, I grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thanks to the very early 2000s TV series like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, do. I grew
Yeah,
up obviously with that one, so it's there. And obviously, I did sort of watch like a couple of seasons of, not the most recent one, but the one before that, the sort of CGI animated one they did.
yeah. I
Uh,
remember.
I think it was like 24. I think it was probably rated not long after this, or maybe just before this. That one existed.
I think it was during the TMNT film.
It was like it was between 2010 and 2020. That sums it up.
Yeah, at some point in this decade, basically.
Yeah. And obviously that was alright. I haven't touched the newer remake because it looks shit. But yeah, growing up obviously that old school one, and obviously the original series, which I've watched a few times on. I'm gonna send oldie but VHS, which is a
Oh my
callback to a
god.
joke prior to recording.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, growing up with all that, obviously, as soon as they were like, "Oh yeah, we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles," I was like, "Okay, I'm listening." But yeah, it's produced by Michael Bay. Okay, I'm listening. We're similar to
Megan Fox.
Transformers. I'm definitely listening. Megan Fox is in it. Okay, I'm sold. So obviously, you hear all that. Mum, obviously, and obviously the first trailer for it, I was just like, "This actually looks really cool." It straight up reminds me of the sort of the feel I had when it's like, "Oh, we're doing Transformers." I was like,
Yeah. I think the best way to explain it is if you get rid of your suspension of disbelief and don't think about it, it's a good film. That's how I see it. Because there are some like confusing moments, and
Michael Bay films, would you expect? There's always
it,
confusing
yeah,
moments.
it has its problems, but it is fun, and it's good to see turtles fucking slaughtering loads of people, and
And buff as fuck.
yeah, and then Iron Man in the Wolverine suit comes in, and then there's the whole plot of Spider Man. Yeah, it's basically
Well,
all of the amazing films put in one.
well. You say that, but it's not as if he's trying to turn them into reptiles or anything. He's literally just trying to poison them.
He's not trying to kill, he's not making reptile. He just wants to kill them.
Yeah, so that's what the guy. That's what he's trying to do. He's not trying to make reptiles like fucking Lizard did. He's just trying to poison them and go, "Hey, you want the antidote? Here it is. Give
Basically,
us money."
they're doing the exact same thing, but with a different end result, pretty much. With the same backstory from Wolverine.
Essentially, yeah.
Ah,
But
Michael Bay.
who cares about all that? It's a very fun, dark movie.
Who cares about that? Fucking turtles.
Exactly. Because I mean, obviously when it starts, and you just got the whole narration with Splinter. And all you're seeing is like these cuts between like the weapons, like slicing through things and like moving really quick. That was quite an interesting way of like opening a movie. It's actually quite a while before you even get to see the turtles. If you think about it, a lot of the early on bits focus fully on Megan Fox's April O'Neil, and it keeps going like that. And obviously you got Whoopi Goldberg there. You got Will Arnett, and obviously it's all focused on that until that obviously the dockyard scene. I think it was when you see them very quickly like jumping around. But then again, you don't really fully get to look at them until after the train attack, really, because you see them like during the train sequence when they're fighting the foot. But it's not until they're on the roof when she's taking the picture that you actually get to see them fully and go, "Whoa, these are very big."
Big motherfuckers.
These motherfuckers on steroids. But I mean,
Wait, these are teenagers? They're 6 foot.
I was gonna say,
They're gonna fucking chase them.
to be fair, that I don't think. I think it'd be a bit weird if they were smaller. I think it very much suits, especially the size of Shredder later on. It makes sense them being these
Yeah.
big boys. Ooh. Because
Can you imagine all the size of a 13-year-old boy?
there's eggs if they're like the normal sort of turtle size, like say for example like the '90s movie, that sort of like size, like a normal person. I don't think it would be as cool. I think because how big they are, and it's like, whoa, these are fucking huge. Like it's sort of modernized essentially.
Oh yeah, if you're going to use CGI, do it good.
Yeah, which they do. To be fair,
Yeah.
I think just like sort of Transformers. Obviously, this a bit later than some of the early Transformers. I mean, this has got to have spot on CGI. And though obviously a lot of times they are in the dark, the turtles. There's a lot of sequences when they're in the light, so they've got to get this CGI right,
Yeah.
or else you just go, The fuck is that? Well, to be fair, you do that anyway because you're like, the fuck are they? They're not the turtles I grew up with.
I mean, basically, best way to explain a Michael Bay film is if you sacrifice logic and story, you get some really good visuals.
Basically, yeah.
And
Because
you know what? I don't give a shit. It's worth it for me.
exactly,
See
because
how big
cinematically,
Wolf Rat.
it's really fucking good cinematically. There's a lot of
Mm.
really, really cool shots within this movie. Like, let me try and think of the one on top of my head. It involves slow motion, so it's Michael Bay's wheelhouse. The one when Rafa gets slingshotted and he does a fucking cannonball into the side of that truck, and he's like his glasses just like slip down. He's like, yeah, that was like quite a cool shot, and it obviously has his Michael Bay stamp of slow motion approval on it. Which, to be fair, that whole like truck chase scene had a lot of CGI on it. I mean, CGI, slow motion on it. Of course, it had a lot of CGI. They couldn't have done that in real life, could they?
Yeah,
Michael Bay probably would try to be fair.
to him he can. To him
Yeah.
it works in real life.
Yeah.
And you can tell Michael Bay did some stuff to it because there's the one scene where they basically focus on Megan Fox's ass.
You mean when she's hanging at the truck?
Yeah, and they just focus on
you got Will on. You got Will on. It's fucking Vern Fenwick. It's like, hey, April, what are you doing? Oh look, you keep doing what you're doing.
And let the camera linger there for a little bit, and then we'll go away. Michael Bay.
That's the thing. You tend to find with like movies when like a lot of the characters are CGI based. There's only like a few human characters. Usually, obviously, sometimes the human characters actually quite suck. You tend to find like, they're never like as good as your CGI characters, because obviously the turtles in this are fucking really well done and spot on to sort of how they are in like the animated shows and whatnot. But I mean, obviously, obviously there's probably is a lot of other people that could have played April and like made her exactly like the sort of
Who's actually a redhead?
yeah,
maybe?
basically. Obviously Megan Fox did an alright job, to be fair. So she obviously they only went for her because a name, big draw, and Michael Bay trying to say sorry for the Transformers fiasco.
Yeah.
But she does an alright job. As I say, there probably could have been someone redheaded who would have been a better choice. But
yeah, I preferred her when she's possessed by a demon.
but even Will Arnett, obviously the guy who was in the Lego movie and Lego Batman film, he's sort of the psychic comedic role, essentially, the funny humour. Even he's quite funny, to be fair. I like the bit in the hat when he's standing by the car and he thinks he's going on a date with her. And she's like, "What's with the hat?" He goes, "What is with the hat? This kid, my friend lent it me. I don't know why." He's such a
awkward character.
Yeah, he's such an awkward character, but it works. I think thanks to Will Arnett, because I do really like him. Thanks to Arrested Development, which he was in, and he was really funny in that. So he was a good choice for the sort of comedic human role of this.
I agree, definitely. I mean, the human characters aren't like dog shit. It's more of like they're pretty generic. Like he's more like the generic like comic relief character. April is the generic pretty Megan Fox character.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and generic bad guy, generic Asian bad guy. You know what I mean? The only ones that have got some flavour are the turtles, who aren't real.
Yeah.
I hate to brush a bubble, Tom, but they're not real.
What?
Yeah, unfortunately, turtles don't actually exist.
But I saw the set photos. They were a bit grey for some weird reason, but they were there.
No, I'm afraid, unfortunately, McDonald's, they killed off all the turtles years ago, and they've used CGI to make them people think they exist.
Damn you to hell!
Goddamn Ronald.
You give us good Happy Meal toys, and now this cardboard cutout bullshit. They do a lot of cardboard shit now. It's like really shit.
Yeah, because they think it helps. It doesn't.
I don't want to build a Krusty Krab.
No.
So I saw my nephew's toy yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wait. Okay, where's the Pokemon card? Where's the fucking Pokemon card? I promise.
Give me Pokemon cards.
I went to go for Happy Meal, come to the Pokemon cards from it. Give me a fucking book. I'm like, I wanted Pokemon cards. It's supposed to be a fucking Pikachu Happy Meal. But it's not.
It's SpongeBob at the moment.
God damn. I blame Michael Bay for that. I do.
Well, we can't blame Michael Bay for everything.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, obviously, when I was saying the set photos, obviously, because all the ones who did the voice acting, apart from one, did obviously the on set stuff. I believe for both films, like they're obviously in the fucking the grey suits with the big massive fucking backpacks look like fucking shells. The fucking cameras on the faces to get the facial movements. So obviously they did a lot of it practically. Then obviously added the CGI, but they do like Hulk and all that.
Yeah.
But I think the only one who didn't was the one who did Leonardo, because Johnny Knoxville, the guy from Jackass, did the voice. But I can't remember his name. I'd obviously say his name in the next week's one because he's the voice in next week's one. Did the motion capture. Obviously, they didn't bother. That's the thing. This one has two characters. One who voices Leonardo and the one who voices Splinter. Neither of them, I believe, come back for the sequel. Or one doesn't at least, because they replace him with the actual guy who did the motion capture. Since what's the point in paying two people when you can just pay the one?
Let's be honest though. If I was like watching both two like next to each other, I probably wouldn't even realise. I'd probably be like, flashy turtles. Don't care that his voice is completely
Yeah,
different.
I don't think you can really tell. To be fair,
Yeah.
I don't think you can 100% tell. I think they are very similar.
Like in 4 when they recasted the Legolas lookalike.
That you never notice at first until you notice that and go, oh, okay, I see that now.
Oh,
But I mean, if I remember correctly, you can't fully notice with the voice in that one. I think it is quite similar, so it's fine. The only one you can fully notice is the fact they changed Shredder and Karai in that one. Because Shredder's no longer this really old guy. He's the guy from the Wolverine. The one that gets thrown at the window in his underpants, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that guy.
Yeah, he's like that one in that.
The irony in that,
Yeah, because of the whole thing in that. Because to be fair though, I really like the look of Shredder in this film. They've fully modernised him, and there's the bad guy Eric Sachs, obviously who played William Witchner. He says when he's showing his armor, he's like the next level of modern warfare. He's literally built him a suit that's tactical as fuck. Because the fucking blade, how many blades does he have on his arms, Matt? He's like his arms just covered, and then on top of that, he can fucking like throw them and they come back with the fucking magnets and all. That was really fucking cool.
Yeah, made no sense, but it's fucking cool.
Well, nothing ever makes sense. It's fiction. What do you expect?
Michael Bay, chef's kiss.
Exactly. I do love that the designs of the characters for this. As I said, the turtles, the modernised and made them bigger, which looks cool.
Yeah.
And Shredder, he's big as fuck to match them, and his armor's as tactical as anything, which is really cool. Especially since obviously underneath the armor is just essentially this really old guy, so they've got to give him like this really badass suit to be able to fight. Bit like the Wolverine, it's an old guy within a fucking giant samurai suit, so it makes sense that the suit's as big as he can and as tactical as possible.
Yep, and don't forget the lizard gas.
It's not a lizard gas; it's just there to poison people so they can fucking pay for the antidote.
Oh, different result. Same way of doing it. That's what I'm saying.
What's the one I mentioned? The music in the film, I actually think it's quite decent music, which you usually find in Michael Bay films. They usually have some like kick to them in terms of the score. Obviously, the modernizer sort of obviously a sort of spin on like a lot of the old Turtles stuff. Obviously, the next film fully spins the old school fucking song in the end credits, but this one sadly doesn't, because this one's not as meant to be nostalgic.
Yeah, it's more like we want money.
This one's straight up just like the first Transformers. It's not meant to be. Okay, it can be nostalgic because well, it is on the big screen now, but it's not meant to be as nostalgic. It's meant to be this kicking off a big franchise, whereas the sequel is more meant to be nostalgic with the designs of stuff, which is a shame because I wish they would have kept with this sort of thing. It's quite a drastic switch up.
It probably would have like made more like films if they stuck with the same theme.
Yeah, rather than switching it up.
I think changing it probably ruined it.
Yeah, because they obviously are rebooting it again, aren't they?
Yeah, because I think obviously they weren't like, oh, the first one probably didn't do it as good as we wanted it to do, so let's completely change it.
Let's have a look actually what it did at the box office. I think it did quite well, to be fair, because obviously it had to have done to get the sequel made.
But maybe it didn't get enough what they actually wanted, so they had to change. Like they probably thought like it would be like a massive hit, like extreme,
According to the
extremely well done.
internet, the budget was up to 150 million, and it made just under 500 million.
Yeah,
Which,
and then they're probably like, we want a billion.
uh,
Why, Michael? Because I want
it's
to.
the highest grossing film of the series, and the highest grossing of Nickelodeon movies.
Mm.
So obviously, then
Well,
the sequel made way less than that. It was like half of it. It made. It was a box office disaster.
i.e., if they'd have kept this theme, they would have done okay. But like, no, let's change it to change how we do it so that more money. Ah,
Yeah.
bad.
How much did the first Transformers movie make? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the difference in terms of like the first movies, essentially. 2009. Scroll up as fast as I can. 2007, I believe, was the first Transformers. Was it?
Probably. I don't know. I don't pay attention for the thing. I was like, oh, Megan Fox.
Yeah, 2007. The first Transformers made 700. So to be fair, it's like 200 difference, but again, Transformers is probably a bigger property than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So obviously, you are bound to get that extra 200. Plus, at the time, something like that was a big deal because it was like, oh, no kids' sort of cartoons have ever been sort of really fully translated properly, and not with like a big director behind it. Because obviously at the time, Michael Bay was a big director, thanks to like the films like Bad Boys, Armageddon, I believe he did. Because obviously he told Ben Affleck to shut the fuck up when he was trying to question his logic.
Yeah, because like it's weird as well. Because obviously with Transformers films, I went into watching those films without actually watching any of the old shows. I never watched any of the movies and like that. So I went to know what they are, but it's the first time watching watching them. Whereas this, obviously, I used to watch the old cartoon on Jetix, whoever it was.
Yeah, it was Jetix back in the day.
Yeah, that and the old Spider-Man. Oh,
It was Jetix, and it was also Fox Kids, I think, at one point.
yeah, it went for a lot of
Yeah, it
changes.
was Fox Kids, then Jetix, then it just got scrapped completely.
And I swear it became something else, and then Cartoon Network were like, "Want to steal that? Thank you. Here's our second channel." Ah, but yeah, I obviously went into watching Transformers films without any anything to compare to. So that's probably why got like that one more. Whereas this, obviously, I went into watching the cartoons first. So this is still fun to watch, but it won't beat the cartoons to me. You know what I mean? It's like how the older Transformers films weren't built, but the newer Transformer films will not compete with the first two. End of story. That's the way to end it. Really, yeah. The first two are the better ones. But this is quite fun still.
Yeah, I think it captures the humour of the cartoons. Obviously, essentially, you got Mike Hughes spitting out constant film references because you got to have that one movie guy in the movie. He's constantly referencing things like left, right, and centre. He's like, I think he calls the sewer like he's Xavier's school, doesn't he? Like Hogwarts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Megan Fox is like, are we in the sewer? He's like, no.
Yeah, sewer.
Oh, so you got Raph, who's like the big-headed, the buff one, always on the fucking gym equipment. Hey, bro, can you have a go now? No! Obviously, got Leo's the leader as always, the one that's trying to keep the peace, calm, and whatnot. And obviously, Donnie's the smart tech guy.
The fucking nerd.
So basically, they do fully capture like the characters of the animated shows, and on top of that, these obviously they're not as I want to say as ninja style as the cartoon ones, because obviously the cartoon ones are smaller, so they can do a lot more fully on like proper like ninja like flips and everything hiding. But they still fucking go for it in this, even though they are massive. So they can't jump as high or like flip over people as much. Obviously this aspect goes more for the muscle side of it, like just kicking people like a fucking mile away situation. Yeah, because that scene when they're getting shot, isn't it? And they're getting shot in the back, and they're like, oh, "We're bulletproof," even though it's because they're shells. They're still kids, so they're not that smart.
Like they could have gone, "Oh, our guns aren't shooting the shells. Oh look, their fucking legs are exposed."
Shotgun the legs off. My fucking leg!
Oh no, Ralph's going paraplegic again.
But I do love that sequence. Obviously, it has the humour of them going, we're bulletproof, and then it has the slow-mo Raph scene when he turns around and just roars at them as the bullets are actually, to be fair, bouncing off him quite a bit.
The carapace
Yeah,
on his
on his chest, yeah, bouncing off him. He's just there slow-mo roaring, which is quite cool. Then you got Leo just there kicking the shit out of all of them. You got Dartley fucking flinging his staff around, which can like extend, which is quite cool. I do like that because if he uses that in the car chase, doesn't he? Because he puts it underneath and he flips it, and you know, whole Michael Bay slow motion underneath going.
It's quite cool how they basically used the bow staff with mixed with technology, which is what he would do as a character. So it's quite clever.
And you obviously got Mikey with his fucking nunchucks. But I did like it when it shows the flashbacks early on, and it's showing them all like learning how to fight, and you got them all like basically adapting to it really quick. So all of them pretty much adapted, apart from Mikey, who's there like taking the piss, like you can't touch this, and he started doing like this fucking splits and everything, and then fucking smashed himself in the face with it. And then someone who pushed him over. Is it Raph who pushed him over?
Probably.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, he's just there mocking him and everything, and Raph just comes over and just pushes him over. Because isn't there at one point when they're listening to fucking music? They've got the fucking mirror outside the fucking sewer. It's like, who turned around the back?
Yeah, fucking
Ain't no back in the hall, back girl. And you got fucking. I'm assuming that's Mikey because he doesn't have actually the color scheme at that point. But I'm assuming it's Mikey that's dancing because he's an idiot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I love the aspect because obviously a lot, especially the recent sort of cartoon, not the remake, the one before that. Obviously, Donnie was the one who was always attached to April, whereas in this, obviously, it's straight up Mikey. With the fact that he's constantly like gushing over her. He's like that girl, dibs.
It wasn't obvious before, dibs.
And of course, the scene at the end when he's in the fucking truck. And he's playing I can say we love her nobody but you for all my life. And everyone's just like, shut up, Mikey.
It's like really bad singing as well.
It's like really bad singing, but I think that's what makes it more funnier. I think if it was really good singing, it'd be like, oh, so he's a good singer, that's alright.
Yeah, it's more like, he's a fucking idiot. He thinks it's working.
Yeah. She's laughing. The other guy's not because of the fact that he got his car blown up again. I love that. He's like, as soon as he's like, I got a new car, lightning's not going to strike twice. You're like, lightning's going to strike twice in a minute.
Look, you're a comic relief character. Just know your life is going to go downhill badly.
Well, at least it's fair though. Obviously, for the comic relief character, at least he got his moment of being a badass when he stood in front of and took the gunshot.
Yeah, that was quite cool.
Yeah. And obviously that's going to literally like play into like most of the plot points of the second movie when he's like, essentially like everyone's like favourite guy because quote unquote he saved everyone with no help whatsoever.
No, totally not from some fucking towels.
I'm trying to think of something else I can refer to in this as well. I like the end credit joke when it's like it's cut in between like the actual end credit playing. It's like them running through the street during the daytime, so it shows that they do come out during the daytime itself. Because obviously, apart from obviously the end fight scene, you never really saw them out in the daytime. It was literally just nighttime. They'd go out and like sneak out. But it's obviously nice to see them actually out in the public daytime, even if it's just used for a boob joke for the fact that they get spotted and have to jump onto a fucking a giant billboard of a woman in the bra. Yeah, and they have to pretend to be the fucking the boobs, and then they just look at each other and it's like, well, so Mikey looks at Raph and starts smiling and laughing when Raph's just like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but i.e. Michael Bay.
Yeah. And i.e. Michael Bay plugged in his own other produced movie in there, that Project Almanac. Which I think was Michael Bay produced. That one was by the guy who made the fucking Power Rangers movie, which is the irony. Another dark movie. Irony.
Connections. So they're all connected.
Yeah.
All connected.
But I think overall, the action in this movie is really good. It's really well done. Obviously, I like the bit in the sewer itself, the first bit of action when they're fighting in the sewers, which is when Shredder invades. That's quite a cool fight scene. So it actually lets you see Splinter kicking some ass, which is quite nice to see. I've seen a lot of the cartoons, Splinter's, even though he's like a frail old rat, like, hello there, he always kicks ass. You know, he just beats the crap out of everyone. And I like the fact he uses his tail to fight, which is quite obviously a good way of helping him like just pull people back and everything. And then you had Shredder into the mix, and obviously I like this. I like the change as well. So obviously, first you see him fight Shredder. It's the same way he sort of like got his hand behind his back on one sword, and he's just like, not even like paying attention, just like blocking everything. And then Shredder does the same thing with Raph later on. When Raph attacks him, he does the exact same thing and steps aside and is like not even like giving a shit, which is quite obviously an interesting way of doing it. But obviously, it also gives you like the chance to see like the turtles, actually visibly fighting and not like seizure level flashing. Sorry, Dan, fighting. But I did like as well the comedy in that scene with fucking Mikey's trying to like hide April. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna hide back here." If you get Percy, there's some orange crush behind the something. He's like, "Don't tell Raph."
Yeah.
Because he's still clearly very much hitting on her.
Oh, it's so good. Fucking Mikey.
But I do love it when obviously Splinter first sees Shredder and he's like, "Oh, you stay away from my sons," and Shredder's just sort of mocking him. He's like, "You think you're their dad? What?" And he just obviously gets like he has like a few blades there. He's like, "Okay, so Splinter can take this," and then his arms just pop out for him. He's like, "Okay, Splinter's dead now. Can we get a new rat in here, please?"
Got a fucking rat from Ratatouille.
Well, maybe he's got a little rat on top of his head helping him fight. Or as I said, a human. It's the opposite way around with this movie.
Ratception.
Ratception, yes.
He's just got fucking Dan DeVito on his back, telling what to do. But he's dressed like the fucking satyr from Hercules.
Imagine if Danny DeVito did the voice of Splinter in this.
My God.
This film would be like a 10 out of 10.
It would, yeah. It'd be fucking more than that.
I'd say it'd be like your messed up world of 100 out of 100.
But in real life, because Dan DeVito.
Yep. But I like the end fight scene as well, the one on the rooftop. When obviously they're being a unit, because obviously just before they get up to the rooftop, they're doing the, as I said, they're showing that why the fact they're still like teenagers, the fact they're taking the piss in the lift when they're doing the beatboxing. They're like, MC Mikey, do.
Yeah.
MC Ricky.
I did like how it's like they slowly all get into it.
Yeah, because obviously it's just him.
Jump into it. It's just him.
Yeah,
and then they slowly get into it.
Yeah, because he starts it, and I think Donnie gets him by tapping the wall. Then it's Raph who starts beatboxing, and Leo starts tapping his katanas together, doesn't he? And obviously, as I say, eventually they're all into it, and then the elevator goes, and it's like, okay, that's enough. And obviously then the fucking flipping onto the roof, because, why not? These big massive fuckers can have that ability to flip that high.
Well, obviously,
Michael Bay logic.
Turtles. It's turtle power.
But I did love, obviously, that they're crammed in the cowabunga joke. And he's like, I like the fact that it's like something from the past, and Raph like made him not. Mikey promised never to say it ever again, unless he beat the crap out of him. And he's like, "You got one in the tank still?" And he's like, "Of course I have." And then they start charging them. And I like that as well. Leo's obviously, because as I said, he's a leader. He's a smart one. He's like, "Okay, don't do this. Wait a second. We need to work as a unit. No, don't. Okay, fuck it. We're gonna have to fight now." So they always get their ass. They all getting their ass kicked. But I like it when they introduce, because they did that flashback earlier when they're playing Buck Buck. I like that bringing that back. He's like, "Hey, what about Buck Buck?" And they're like, "I like where this is going." Even though I think is it Leo at first is like, we don't have time for these kids' games. Then Raph's like, he's like, "No, let's play Buck Buck." And they all realise and like, oh, and then it's that whole slow motion shot, because Michael Bay level of like one by one, that's kicking the shit out of Shredder and then stopping so they can all jump on each other's backs. And I think is it Donnie who's the last one to? Was it Raph who's the last one?
It's Raph, I think.
Yeah, he jumps across all three of them, doesn't he? Because I think isn't it Mikey first?
Yeah.
Then I think it's Leo. Then Donnie, and I think then I think it's Raph who just jumps over and then kicks him on, and because don't they one by one they just slowly break his armor, because doesn't the first like kick on Mikey like shatter his fucking, was it Raph's kick actually it's Raph's kick, it shatters his fucking that fin on his head, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just fucking
and he goes fucking flying.
Yeah.
But he totally falls to his death. Totally doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't just get back up and beat the crap out of all of them and just destroy the fucking the tail with those fucking flying blades. What I do like as well
Yeah.
the callback to the scene with the pizza early on. The product placement pizza. When they're like, okay, don't move. We need to not move at all. When obviously they're stuck underneath the tower and they have to hold it up, and there's fucking Shredder's punching the living crap out of the stomachs, and they're just there, like holding on as much as they can. It's like, yep, just don't move. That's quite a nice call. This film's full of a lot of callbacks during this like end sequence to like stuff that are basically very minuscule early on in the film. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's done well.
From Michael Bay film, it's quite good.
Yeah. I almost want to say I'm pretty certain loads of people are probably dead blow because why the fuck didn't the cops like tell everyone to move as far back as possible, because there's clearly stuff falling from this rooftop.
Because obviously these are police in a Michael Bay film. They're not going to listen to logic because logic doesn't exist.
Fair enough. I did like the bit when they're falling off the roof and they're in that fucking tower and they're all saying like things that they regret not ever saying or whatnot. And you got Donnie who's like straight away, he's like, oh yeah, I'm the one who licks the Pop-Tarts and puts them back. You got Mikey who's like, oh, I didn't understand the ending of Lost. It's obviously going his nerd route. And then you got fucking Leo doesn't say fuck all because they already know his piece between them, because he's never wanted to shy away from saying stuff. Whereas obviously Raph does his whole love speech. He's like saying, we're brothers, and I really regret not saying I love you. And then other than their fucking little record, fucking when then they stop and like, Raph, we start falling. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
you crying? No, man, there's just dust here.
I did love that when we was watching that film. Alex was watching with us. And he was like, "How fucking long is this for?"
Yeah, because I was like, it's a Michael Bay.
No,
It's a Michael Bay movie. It's really slow mo.
But the joke is they stopped falling a while ago.
Yeah,
they haven't realised it.
Yeah, they probably stopped falling after Mike. He said the lost joke.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they did notice. I think it's just Raph who didn't notice because he was just too into this like crying moment.
Yeah.
I reckon he started when they were still falling, and then obviously I reckon the halfway point is when it probably stopped, and because it was all like in his mind, it was still spinning around, so he couldn't actually see. That's my guess of it.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it was kind of needed to like help finish off the whole arc of Raph accepting them.
Yeah.
And, like showing that he actually cares about them.
Yeah, and obviously you also get this the Shredder taking the use, setting up him getting really younger in the sequel, and then obviously they revive Splinter that night, but it's done in a comical way again. But the fact he's like, Mikey, come closer. I need to talk to you, Mikey.
Like a fucking Zootopia.
But I love the bit when he's like, you don't actually. I love the fact you don't hear it at first. He's like, what's he say? What's he say? He said, "Get your foot off me."
Getting you off my chest. Oh, sorry.
I do like. I do like the fact that he just wraps up everything, and obviously, even if there wasn't going to be a sequel, I feel like apart from obviously the Shredder taking the use thing, I feel like it definitely is something that is ended perfectly, and could easily be a way of obviously, as I say, if it wasn't like a second one, there wasn't be anything like cliffhanger based that go, I wish that would have said something. But as apart from the Shredder scene, but that again could have just been anything really. It could have just been like him showing like it wasn't anything major, because as I say, that's literally just used to heal him and make him younger in the sequel.
Like, we could use that as like maybe he was trying to grab on for life, but like trying to grab on to what he's after, but died there or something.
Yeah. So I did like it that it's not like open for a sequel, but if it did well enough, which it did, it obviously critically not wise, but money it did. So obviously eventually got its sequel 2 years later, I believe it was.
And then bang, gone.
Yeah. To be fair though, it didn't help the fact they put the sequel out at the same time they put like Warcraft, which was a big deal at the time. Though that didn't do very well either. Obviously you had people going to watch that. And I think there's something else at the time as well. I can't remember. I think basically they put it out at the wrong time, because if I remember correctly, this film came out in like, I want to say the October of 2014. It was quite late in the year, I think. I don't think it was an early movie. Whereas obviously that sequel did come out in like May. So obviously there was a lot of other films out at that time which people were actually going to see. So let's have a look. Teenage Mutant Turtles. It was released October, yeah. So obviously, people were like, "Hey, look, it looks like a Halloween movie. Let's go watch this." But
Uh,
I just think the sequel was played at the wrong time, probably, of the films that
mm,
people are more interested in, and the drastic tonage shift from full on
oh, classic.
dark and light, like dark and comedy, to slightly dark and more comedy, which just didn't massively work. It's not bad. It just doesn't work as much as this.
Mm. Oh
Uh,
well, that that's life, Michael
yeah,
Bay. You
give
you
it
win
got
some, you lose some.
yeah, basically,
He came,
basically.
he saw, he ruined Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I
No,
wouldn't say ruined.
no,
He just
no, it's all right.
yeah,
It was. We enjoyed the film,
yeah,
and let's be honest, if there was someone else involved, it probably would have been better. But for a Michael Bay film, it was good.
yeah. Okay, let's pick a favorite moment then.
Oh,
My favorite moment is going to be what I've called "Enter the Shredder," when he's that light in the sewer and he just steps out into the light. I really
mm.
love that shot, and obviously it leads to the fight with Splinter, which is a fucking really good fight. So yeah, I'm going to have to go with "Enter the Shredder."
Yeah, I'd say the scene where it focuses on Megan Fox's ass. Oh no, I would actually say it would be the. I really did like the callback to the book when they actually like do it. That was quite a good scene, and also the scene when they're kids and they're learning.
Yeah, the fight.
Mm. The
Okay.
narration was not great, but the actual scene itself was good. So yeah,
Okay. Uh, okay. The pivotal moment then, the rating of the movie. Uh,
okay.
as I said, I really enjoyed this. I went to watch it when it first came out. I was really hyped for it, and I was satisfied enough. It's kind of it is like the parents movie for me. It's
Mm.
not great. It is missing some stuff that would make it better. But if you shut your mind down, it's still a really entertaining movie, and it's a nice little reminder of your childhood, essentially. Even if they do look like monsters. um, so I'm gonna give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles an 8 out of 10. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really good.
Okay, okay. I'd probably give it a Michael Bay out of Michael Bay. We translates to a 7 out of 10.
Okay, I was gonna say you're gonna translate that for me because I don't know my
I
Michael
mean,
Bay knowledge yet. I only know my Jeff Goldblum knowledge.
I like the film. It's just it wasn't like the best one out there, and I'd still prefer the first Transformers film.
Oh, I absolutely prefer
Yeah,
that more, but
yeah.
I still really enjoyed this.
I think if I had to watch the cartoons, I think I probably would have preferred it more, maybe. But because I've still got that to compare to, it does slightly hinder it,
Uh,
and the whole fact it's obviously a cash grab does affect it. But it was still fun. And hey, Megan Fox is Megan Fox.
I do think it's a lot better than some of the later Transformers films.
Oh,
Way,
definitely.
way
Like,
better. Okay, and so that gives Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a Chatter Cave overall rating of 7.5.
hmm
Okay, so the Chatter Cave MVP time. So the MVP of this movie is going to be Raphael, played by Alan Richardson. Uh, I think we can both agree that the fact that he was the one that's fully developed over the course of the film, from being this
mm.
guy that really hates the others, but still has that slight respect, to having this full on respect and to everyone. I think he's played the most developed over more.
I think even though like Leo is supposed to be the leader, I think he was technically the main like one out of them, like in this particular film, because he's the one that had to like go and save them,
Yeah,
and
and
he had
break
to
his
go
shell in
through
the process.
and go through his whole arc as well. Obviously, setting up to be like for him to be the main focus.
Exactly.
Mm.
Okay, so the runner-up of the award will be Michelangelo, played by Noel Fisher, for the fact that he was quite funny.
Mm.
Obviously, you got to give the comedy value a nod, and the fact that
Yeah.
he's constantly cracking off these references to movies we know. We're like, oh, we know that movie. Oh, we get that TV reference. Oh,
It was quite fun as well to watch him actually act like Mikey.
yeah.
Because if they'd have fucked up Mikey, I think this film would have been a massive dip.
Yeah. They have to get all the characters right, and personally I think they got them all, especially Mikey.
Definitely. And of course, for the Michael Bay Award, we have Megan Fox. Michael Bay has told us to do this. You know, we've been being paid like loads of money for this, to give the award to Megan Fox, because, as his words is, it's Megan Fox. Why the fuck not?
I'm gonna have to try and find a PNG of his head on and stamp it on an image. Okay, so my question of the day this week is there any other Nickelodeon animated properties that you would like to get a big budget live action adaptation? I think she's died again. Yeah, she's definitely died again. Tom's going to answer his own question then. SpongeBob would be weird to see. That would be very weird, but be interesting. Danny Phantom, I think, was a Nickelodeon property. That would be quite a cool adaptation to do. Tom's going through Nickelodeon movies in his head. Diego would make sense for the fact that they've already done Dora, so that would make sense. Fair Odd Parents, that would be interesting. It's already been made, but a non-TV edition would be good.
Fucking Jimmy Neutron.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously we've had a Jimmy Neutron movie, but that was an animated movie, so that would make sense.
Just for fucking Carl Weezer.
Yeah, definitely. Can we call up the casting agency and say, can we offer Alex?
Yes, we can.
Alex will be the live action adaptation of Carl. Well, to be fair, he probably would. He probably would love to play Carl Weezer.
Well, think of all the money.
Exactly. Okay. So, I think we covered most of the good Nickelodeon shows that could be done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that's it for Check Out Podcast this week. There's the second part of the Falcon Winter Soldier one coming out on Monday, I believe it is. That's obviously episode 3 to 6 and the actual rating, but the actual Friday slot is going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, the sequel to this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be interesting to look at how it changes drastically compared to this one. So
all I remember is, I swear, Megan Fox dressed as a schoolgirl or something.
She does, yeah. She ties the thing up like sort of like Britney Spears type.
Yeah, because Michael Bay. I think I know why I keep crashing. It's Michael Bay trying to fucking hack into something and thinking shit about him.
Probably. But yeah, I've been your host, Dragging Thomas Hughes.
Yes, and Megan Fox.
And this has been Chat Cave Podcast. Cowabunga!
Now we've been sued. Thank you, Tom.
Michael Bay again, isn't it?
Yeah, Michael Bay.
Damn you to hell!